Okay, hello everybody. My name is Karen Palmer. I'm from TriTech Enterprise Systems, and I am going to talk to you today about a case study we did with a project that used Kanban and was appraised at CMMI Level 3. Quick introduction to myself. I'm the QA manager, like I said. I've led successful projects to Level 2 and 3 maturity level appraisals. I am now a team Kanban practitioner. I have my PMP, and I'm working on my KMP. On the right here, you'll notice I'm a bit of an anomaly at this conference. I have 10 years in CMMI and just under a year with Kanban. So you know where my knowledge lies. So quick poll, how many of you are familiar with CMMI? Great. Anybody here been through an appraisal? Few, okay. Anybody working towards an appraisal right now? No? Okay, well, hopefully in the future, if you are, this will help you out. So not to step on Kirk's earlier presentation, but just a quick overview. The link up there, cmmiinstitute.com, that's where anything and everything you need is. It's a performance improvement framework. It helps organizations implement best practices and improve their capabilities. There's different models. There's a common architecture to them, though. Each model is made up of process areas. Each of those process areas has specific practices, and then generic practices that are global to all of the process areas. And many of the models share a lot of those process areas, so you'll see some overlap. How does it work? It's not prescriptive, it's not a dictation, it's not a set of instructions, it's guidance, it's best practices, it's for organizations to decide we want to improve, we need to choose a model that fits what we want to do, and we want to improve our processes and tools towards our objectives. And then if you're going to seek an appraisal, you can do it a full Scampi appraisal, which is every process area in your chosen model, or you can do a capability appraisal at just one or two or a handful of process areas. So our project case study. Quick little bit of background. Our company was reappraised at CMMI Level 2, Maturity Level 2 for development in November 2013. In December 2015, the project that was going to be appraised began using Kanban, thanks to Joey back there, whose talk you may have seen earlier. In June 2016, I was brought on board as the quality assurance manager. So 6 months to go. Clock is ticking towards that deadline. So the three main things we focused on: quality assurance, process tailoring, and feedback on the process loops. And then we were appraised at Level 3 in mid-November last year. So what was our approach? We kind of had to maintain separation between church and state thing happening with our organizational areas and our project teams. And this was, as you'll see later, one of the biggest ways we ensured we didn't freak the team out. We did a lot of mentoring with the OSSP team. We did a lot of non-compliance resolution and a lot of QA audits and a lot of tailoring. And I'm sorry I didn't define OSSP, but that just means our organizational set of standard processes. A lot of people call it that in the CMMI world. We're full of fun acronyms. And then our appraisal, PID creation, again, another CMMI word, that's the map between everything that you're getting appraised and every specific generic practice in every process area that you're getting appraised. And if I am correct, it is a performance implementation indicator description document. Practice, thank you. And when you go through an appraisal, there are non-disclosure agreements, so you're not allowed to talk about it in detail, but I will say to you, Kanban, CMMI appraisal, very tough. We had a lot of lessons learned, which we'll go into. The result, though, was great. We're currently incorporating a lot of the Kanban practices into our process set, and we're moving towards a flow-based process set instead of waterfall, which is where we began. And we are full-blown using Kanban right now to perform our process improvement activities at the organizational level. And because of that, we're seeing a lot of great collaboration between process teams and the organizational process owners, and less angst, if you will. So here's where a lot of people start. For better or for worse, you get a lot of top-down pressure and a lot of bottom-up confusion. Top-down pressure sometimes comes from the idea of seeking the appraisal for the check mark, and I've been through this several times. You have a lot of leaders with either financial goals or client requirements, and they say, hey, we need this, we got to bid on contracts, or our customer wants us to do this, and they don't really understand what this is. What does it mean to do CMMI? What can happen from there is you can go a little bit too quickly without that genuine desire to see any performance improvement in your organization. And you can quickly develop a check-in-the-box mentality with your organization. And so you start speaking in all of the acronyms in that 750-page book. We have a CMMI culture. We do CMMI. You don't really talk about what process improvement means to you. You just kind of tout your appraisal. Or a lot of people like to say certification. That's not what it is. It's an appraisal. And then after an appraisal, leaders sometimes forget, hey, we got to do this thing in 3 years. So the whole company will be certified, we'll be fine. No, it happens at an organizational level, and that could be the entire company if you work it that way, or if you have a very large company, you might have multiple organizations at multiple different levels of maturity. And then also the ongoing reality is that your processes may collect dust. You may find yourselves about to have your appraisal expire, and then you may scramble, and then you may start this cycle all over again. If this is happening, you get a lot of bottom-up confusion from your teams. We're performing Scrum. We're using IEEE standards. We are, insert your whatever method here. We're a Kanban organization. Why do we need to bother with CMMI? I already know my way of working. Also, you get the, like Kirk talked about earlier, it's just about creating documentation. I've heard, let me do my job, let somebody else go do the CMMI stuff and get ready for the appraisal. And I'm sick of hearing about all the CMMI language. I don't understand what it is. I don't know what it means. And then, again, why are you focusing so much on this appraisal? I need to actually perform the work for my customer. Well, if you have this genuine desire to improve, this is hopefully how it's going to go. You want to get CMMI appraisals to maintain your competitive edge. You're genuinely interested in that process improvement culture because every 3 years you've got to go through this or your appraisal will expire. And whatever model or models you choose should be based on your business needs, and you should provide dedicated resources to this effort. So some advice. Start with what you do now. Everybody in here should be familiar with that statement. Focus on what you're doing well now, and then keep on keeping on. Don't force CMMI into your patterns, and don't have any massive reorganization efforts to meld the language together. What is most important is to meet the intent of CMMI in what you do and not its vocabulary. Form a relationship with your organizational quality assurance team. This is where the magic happened on our project. I was the CMMI person, Joey was the project tech lead, he knew Kanban, I knew CMMI. We were talking 2 different languages for about a month until we started understanding that when he said work type and I said artifact, and we were starting to realize, okay, things are actually the same, we just call it different things in CMMI. So having that constant mentorship and having that constant conversation at an organizational level and a project level was very helpful. It helped us discover where we were falling short through the quality assurance audits, and that wasn't just on the team side, that was on our process side as well. So it's a two-way street there. We implemented improvements on the team. They resolved their non-compliance issues, and we made a ton of improvements to our processes that are ongoing today. Tailoring. Tailoring is taking your prescribed set, your standard set, your organization's way of doing things and making it fit like the perfect pair of pants. You got to get them hemmed. Not everybody can wear the same pants. Well, tailor. Tailor again. Keep going. Provide feedback on what's going well with what you're doing to your process owners. Tailor from there. And then eventually, your processes at the organizational level will catch up to the best practices that you're following and still meet the intent of CMMI. And surviving your appraisal. Do you really need one? Well, if it's a check in the box, make sure the hassle is worth the effort. If it's about implementing real change, make sure you're ready to invest those resources and time and money. Because again, you don't have to get an appraisal to do this. If you decide to seek an appraisal, I recommend managing the appraisal effort separately from the project. Don't force the project team into performing their work as well as preparing for the appraisal. There's a lot involved, and you don't want them missing the mark on what they're actually supposed to be delivering to their customer. Keep them working on their goals and not worrying about the appraisal effort. Questions? Quickest.